Welcome back. Today we have a word that might surprise you. It sure did me. We'll talk about a founding father, an interesting baseball character, a fast food founder, a great writer, a song, and a quote. So grab your favorite cuppa, settle in, and let's check it out. Hi there, and welcome to This Day in History for October 8th. October 8th is the 281st day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 282nd in leap years, with 84 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is pink, a word with a surprising number of meanings and definitions. I think we're all aware of pink as a color made with a little red and quite a bit of white. It appears that pink as a color was named after a particular flower, dianthus, also known as pinks, which may have been so called because of their perforated or scalloped petals. We see pinks as the name for dianthus in the 1570s. We'll come back to that perforated business in just a bit. There is, or was, a Dutch word pink that meant small or narrow, like your pinky finger, and may have come from the term pink ogen, which meant small eyes or half-closed eyes. The dianthus flowers may have come to be called pinks because of their perforated or scalloped petals. And again, we'll come back to that directly. People began to refer to pink-colored or the color of pinks in about the 1630s, and eventually dropped simply to the word pink to describe this color by about the 1720s. But before any of that, the word pink was a verb that meant to pierce, puncture, or stab with a pointed weapon. Ouch. We see this around the year 1200. About 100 years later, the meaning of pink as a verb meant to make holes in or to spur a horse. By around 1500, pink comes to mean to decorate by making small holes in a regular pattern at the edge of a garment or a piece of leather. The name for the zigzag cutting pinking shears evolves from this use in the 1930s. It all starts, though, with the definition of pink as a verb in the 1400s, which meant to pierce with a sword or other pointed instrument. Now, unrelated to any piercing or cutting as far as I can tell, other definitions for the word pink may also include a particular type of Dutch fishing boat called a pink. The European minnow or newly hatched salmon might be called a pink. There's even an old world finch, often kept as a cage bird, called a pink. And there are even political references involving the word pink that have to do with holding or believed to hold liberal or moderately radical political or economic views, but that's a whole nother discussion. I've tried to give dates if dates were available for each of these many meanings of the word pink as I described them, but again, most definitions of the word pink originate with the definition of pink as a verb in the 1400s, which meant to pierce with a sword or other pointed instrument. Pink. Today's word pink was suggested by YouTube viewer at Barrowcat. Thanks, Barrowcat. And if you have a word you'd like us to examine in this Word of the Day segment, drop it in the comments. We'll get it on the list and check it out. And with that, one of the founding fathers of the United States, John Hancock, was born on January 23, 1737 in Braintree, Massachusetts. He was certainly involved in the politics of his time, serving as governor of Massachusetts, president of the Continental Congress, and first president of the Massachusetts Provincial Congress. He's particularly remembered for his large and stylish signature on the United States Declaration of Independence, such that the term John Hancock has become synonymous in the United States, at least, for one's signature. John Hancock passed away on October 8, 1793 at the age of 56. I love the story of Ping Bodie. Nothing to do with pink, though. This is Ping Bodie. This is his birthday, October 8th, 1887. He was a baseball player who acquired the name Ping after the sound it made when his bat hit the ball. Love that sound. He was actually of Italian descent, born Francesco Stefano Pizzolo. He took the name Bodie after a town in California with that name where he had lived once. He's credited with inspiring other up-and-coming young Italian Americans to pursue their dreams of being baseball players. He played for various MLB teams for about 10 years. When he retired from baseball, he got a regular job as an electrician on movie lots, mostly for Universal Studios. I first heard of Ping Bodie in a folksy little news item about that time he competed against an ostrich named Percy in a spaghetti-eating contest. Ping Bodie won when Percy passed out after the 11th plate of pasta. Ping Bodie lived to the age of 74. This is the birthday of Harmon Dobson, born October 8, 1913 in Wayne, Oklahoma. He was accepted to university to study journalism, but returned home to help the family during the Great Depression. After that, he became an iron worker and did all sorts of interesting work. In the mid-century, he went into business with a partner with the idea of opening a burger joint that made a hamburger so big you'd have to hold it with both hands. What a burger! In 1950, he was granted the name trademark Whataburger and opened the first location across from Del Mar College in Corpus Christi. Now, Whataburger is in many states across the U.S. I've talked about Whataburger before. Mr. Dobson married in 1955, had some children, and built Whataburgers. Harmon Dobson also loved to fly and was an avid pilot, and that's why we see that Flying W logo. Sadly, Mr. Dobson perished in a plane crash in 1967 at the age of 53. In a postscript, he left the business to his wife, Grace. She was encouraged by others to sell the company, but decided to keep it in the family. Grace ran the business until her passing in 1993, and son Tom Dobson now runs the company. And in case you can't tell, I am a Whataburger fan. Thank you, Harmon Dobson. And we can't forget Frank Herbert. This is the birthday of American journalist, photographer, and author Frank Herbert, born October 8, 1920 in Tacoma, Washington. He wrote the Dune saga, and you may have heard of the movie Dune, which was based on his book Dune. We have watched the original Dune movie, which was released in 1984. I've watched it dozens of times and could watch it as many more. And we've also watched Dune Part 2. Great stuff. Frank Herbert wrote in the genre of science fiction as part of the New Wave literary movement and lived to the age of 65. Frank Herbert. You might remember here a while back when I was spending my days down at the tire shop, they pipe in a Sirius XM station to help entertain the customers while they wait, and I heard this one, The Night Has 1,000 Eyes. Written by Benjamin Weissman, Dorothy Wayne, and Marilyn Garrett, this song was released by Bobby V in 1962 and became a popular hit for him. We actually talked about Bobby V back in April when it was his birthday. The Night Has 1,000 Eyes was released initially as a single in December of 1962 and then included on his 9th studio album of the same name in February of 1963. The song The Night Has 1,000 Eyes spent 14 weeks on the Billboard Hot 100, peaking at number 3, and also held positions within the top 5 of several other charts around the world, number 1 in Ireland. It's been covered by several other artists along the way, like Gary Lewis and the Playboys and the Carpenters. And if you've ever seen the 1998 science fiction film Dark City, you might remember a sultry nightclub-type performance by Jennifer Connelly. Interesting note about that one, while we hear Jennifer Connelly's voice singing the director's cut version, the commercial release version is dubbed with Anita Kelsey's voice. Not sure which version we saw. It was within the last year. I think it was on Amazon Prime. The gist of the song is, "If you cheat, I'll know." Sounds like he'd heard things and was putting her on notice. Although the tempo, at least as Bobby V sings it, sounds fairly cheerful and upbeat. I think the basic message of this song is just be true to your sweetheart. The Night Has 1,000 Eyes by Bobby V. Link in the description. How about that? For today's quote, I found one by Frank Herbert and is quite insightful. It is, "All governments suffer a recurring problem. Power attracts pathological personalities. It's not that power corrupts, but that it is magnetic to the corruptible." Frank Herbert. Alrighty, y'all take care. Be good to each other. I'll see you next time. And a hearty and grateful shout out to these lovely folks who've bought me a coffee. Thank you so much. And if you'd like to add your name to that list, there is a link in the description where you too can buy me a coffee. Alrighty. And I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with a link in your email, messaging, or social media. If you enjoy this series, you can check out the playlists in the description. You can find me on BitChute, Facebook, Odyssey, Rumble, YouTube, and X, as well as on a blog page called No Really. No Really. No, really. Consider following my Day in History page on Facebook if you're on Facebook. I also have a Patreon account now, or you can buy me a coffee. All those links are in the description. Alrighty, that's all I can think of right now. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.